Hi there, as usual it's me, Just a Voiceover, you're watching Review Machines, and this is all new ATV, which is called Hammer. Well, my friends, spring is finally here, and we are so excited cause it's high season for off-roading adventures, and we decided to open it with this new simple and cheap ATV. This vehicle is an ideal variant for those who are not made of money and not ready to pay huge sum for famous ATV brands. So we picked out this cheapest machine, and today we will make hard tests of this ATV to find out what it's capable of. So get comfortable on our quad, my friends, it's time to begin, let's go! First of all, few words about the exterior. It looks pretty decent as to me. There are almost no any bright awkward elements as opposed to many cheap Chinese models. The design is reserved, no any bright stickers or chrome details. But the whole look is quite serious. Looking at this quad, it's hard to say it's the cheapest. Besides, it seems the grille and headlamps look like a BRP Outlander, doesn't it? It's quite compact, but it's not a kid stuff, it's a real utility quad, and the sticker says it's forbidden for children under 16. The length is 184 cm, the height is 116, the width is 90 cm. And I don't have any info about the weight, but it doesn't feel too weighty. There is 4-stroke engine, 300cc, 23 HP. As usually, there is CVT transmission and rear chain drive. The chain has robust metal protection from the ground. As a result, the ground clearance is less, but it's more heavy-duty. If we look what we have under the bottom, we see that all the main parts are protected with a steel tube. The suspension seems to be standard. There are 2 shocks at the front and the single shock from behind. The suspension has decent travel, and it's pretty soft. The front wheels are equipped with hydraulic brakes, and there is a rear brake on the axle. Let's get the engine started. It sounds quietly, but when you push throttle, it's not so quiet. According to the official manual, it's forbidden to ride with a passenger. Well, both my friend and me are 190 cm height, but we can sit on this quad without difficulties. There are front and rear trunks with plastic cover. The headlamps look cool, don't they? The dashboard is simple, but it's bright and easy for reading. The controls are pretty standard, nothing special. And generally speaking, we've covered all the main details. So it's high time for the practice, let's go! And first of all, I am going to sweep through these awesome spring fields. Let's go! What a pleasure to have a ride in a warm spring weather across this boundless landscape. And I think if you need a quad to have similar pleasant rides without hard off-roading, this cheap ATV is a good variant. It's cheap and simple, if something gets broken, it's easy to replace it. I can't say it's very powerful, but 300cc engine is enough to accelerate swiftly and go at a decent speed. By the way, this quad comes across as an utility vehicle, so it may be quite useful for some work. It's enough torque to tow a trailer with some cargo, though not too weighty. But also it will be interesting to see how it goes on asphalt, so let's move there. Here I am going to check the maximum speed. By the way, the quad goes well on asphalt. There are some vibrations on the handlebar, but they are not too annoying. But let's see what speed I can show on this quad. 57 km per hour. Not shocking, but decent speed taking into account the vehicle is new, and after some time of use it may go faster. Besides, the rider weighs about 100 kilos. That is a serious impact, obviously. As to the brakes, well, it seems to be alright. Meantime, I come back to the fields, enjoying again the spring nature. To my surprise, the ATV makes an impression of well-assembled vehicle. That is a seldom feature for a cheap Chinese quad. Nothing is dangling here, it's neat and good for handling. But even more I was surprised by the performance of the suspension. It's quite comfortable to ride the thing even on rough terrain. Moreover, it worked even when we were moving together with the passenger. I don't know how reliable the thing is, but so far it really produces a good impression. You can see me now crossing big holes in the ground at a pretty high speed. The suspension may feel a bit tough, but what's more important, it allows to move on rough terrain without hesitation. Then I liked how it's quite maneuverable, especially taking into account that there is a solid rear axle without differential. And if you push a bit more throttle, the rear axle starts sliding, and as a result the turning radius becomes even less. Besides, it's just a lot of fun to do some drift on this vehicle. Meantime, I move into the dark forest, where there is an off-roading kingdom. And frankly speaking, I'm not expecting much from this quad, cause as you remember, there is only a rear drive. On the other hand, there is no rear differential, so it's able to do some stuff on off-roading. But the most important, the quad is light, so I'm not afraid of getting stuck. If you can, you had better pass the obstacle, but if there is no another way, just push throttle and cut your way through it. Even if you get stuck, you will be able to get out of any trap due to the lightweight. And it's a serious advantage of such quads as opposed to the large 4x4 ATVs. Now you can see me getting out without winch or other help. And finally, we have only one more thing to discuss, the prices. And the price of this quad is about $4,500. Thanks for having a ride with us, my friends. Please post your comments what you think of this machine. Consider subscribing the channel if you like this video. Stay with us, there will be many more interesting materials here. Goodbye.